Be me, Polly, 34 years old, Human Resources Director. This industry has been a boys' club for too long. Time to even the playing field. Monday morning, 8:30 a.m. sharp. Stride into the main office area, heels clicking purposefully. Good morning, everyone, I call out loudly. Notice how the energy shifts when I speak. Some people look up nervously from their desks. Perfect. They should be paying attention. Head to my corner office, glass walls so I can see everything. First order of business, review the performance evaluations. Spread out the files on my desk like battle plans. This quarter's reviews are going to be decisive. Marcus from engineering knocks on my door. Hey, Polly, do you have a minute to discuss the team restructuring? I lean back in my chair, voice rising slightly. Marcus, I've told you before, it's not restructuring, it's optimization. We need to be precise with our language here. He shifts uncomfortably. Right, sorry. The optimization plan. I stand up, papers in hand, gesturing emphatically. Look, Marcus, I know change is hard, but we have to think about the bigger picture. This company has had the same demographic makeup for years. Where's the diversity? Where's the fresh perspective? My voice gets louder as I warm up to the topic. We can't keep promoting the same types of people and expect different results. Marcus nods quickly. Of course, diversity is important. I just want to make sure we're not losing valuable talent in the process. I feel my jaw clench. Valuable according to whom? The same old metrics that got us into this situation. Slam my hand on the desk for emphasis. Sometimes you have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, Marcus. After he leaves, I open my laptop. Draft an email to the executive team. Subject: Performance Review Recommendations, Q3. Fingers flying across the keyboard. Start typing my real thoughts. Team, after careful analysis, I'm recommending we move forward with terminating several underperforming employees. Jake from DevOps has consistently failed to adapt to our new collaborative frameworks. His resistance to feedback suggests he's not aligned with our evolving company culture. Similarly, Ryan from Sales hasn't shown the emotional intelligence required for client relations in today's market. These decisions aren't personal. They're strategic moves toward building a more dynamic, responsive workforce. Pause. Reread what I wrote. Sounds professional enough. But I know what I really mean. Jake and Ryan represent everything wrong with this place. Entitled, comfortable, taking up space that could go to people who actually deserve it. People who've had to fight for every opportunity. Continue typing. Additionally, I recommend we accelerate the promotion timeline for several high-potential candidates. Sarah from marketing has shown exceptional leadership qualities, and Monica from customer success has demonstrated innovative, problem-solving approaches that align perfectly with our strategic vision. Hit send before I can second-guess myself. This is exactly the kind of decisive action this company needs. Tuesday afternoon, performance review meetings begin. Call Jake into my office first. He sits down, looking relaxed, probably expecting good news. Jake, thank you for coming in. I don't offer him coffee or small talk. Straight to business. I want to discuss some concerns about your recent performance. His expression shifts to confusion. Concerns. I thought my metrics were solid this quarter. I lean forward, voice rising with authority. Metrics don't tell the whole story, Jake. Leadership requires more than just technical competence. What I'm seeing is a pattern of resistance to collaborative initiatives. When we introduced the new team-building protocols, you were notably disengaged. When Sarah suggested the inclusive communication workshop, you rolled your eyes. His face reddens. I didn't roll my eyes, I just thought we had more pressing technical priorities. I stand up, walking around to the front of my desk. And that attitude, right there, is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't get to decide what's a priority, Jake. You don't get to dismiss initiatives that make this workplace better for everyone. My voice is getting louder, more forceful. This isn't about technical skills anymore, Pao. It's about cultural fit. Cultural fit, he repeats, looking genuinely bewildered. What does that even mean? I feel anger building in my chest. It means understanding that this industry is changing, whether you like it or not. It means recognizing that your comfort isn't the most important thing in this office. It means being part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Jake tries to respond, but I cut him off. I'm sorry, Jake, but we're going to have to let you go. This decision is final. His mouth falls open. Let me go. Based on what? My performance reviews have been excellent. This is insane, Polly. You can't just fire me because you don't like my attitude about team building. I walk back to my desk, pulling out his termination paperwork. Jake, this conversation is over. Human resources will handle the details of your transition. My hands are shaking slightly with adrenaline, but also with satisfaction. Finally, consequences for the old guard. After Jake leaves, stunned and angry, I sit back down, open my laptop, and compose another email, this one to my personal account, to document everything properly. Note to self, Jake termination completed. As expected, he showed no understanding of why his behavior was problematic. Complete lack of self-awareness typical of his demographic. Ryan meeting scheduled for tomorrow. Anticipate similar defensive response. The resistance is predictable but ultimately irrelevant. We're building something better here. Wednesday morning, Ryan meeting. He comes in looking nervous. Probably heard about Jake. Hi, Polly. I brought some updated sales reports if you want to review them. I don't even look at the papers he's offering. Ryan, please sit down. We need to talk. Clear my throat. Adopt my most professional tone. I've been observing your interactions with clients lately. There are some interpersonal dynamics that concern me. Ryan looks confused. My numbers are up 15% this quarter, and client satisfaction surveys are positive. I lean back, crossing my arms. Numbers don't capture everything, Ryan. I'm talking about emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity. Yesterday, I overheard you telling a client that our diversity initiatives were just for show. His eyes widen. I never said that. I said our results speak for themselves, regardless of initiatives. Feel my voice rising again. Do you see the difference, Ryan? Do you understand how that kind of language undermines everything we're trying to build here? Bone up, pacing behind my desk. When you dismiss diversity work as just for show, you're telling our clients that inclusion doesn't matter. You're telling our female colleagues, our colleagues of color, that their experiences don't matter. Ryan tries to interrupt, but I keep going. And frankly, I'm tired of having to explain this to grown men. I'm tired of being told I'm overreacting when I point out problematic behavior. I'm tired of watching the same dynamics play out over and over again. My voice is loud enough now that people outside can probably hear. This company is moving forward with or without people who can't adapt. Polly, I think there's been some misunderstanding. I'm committed to the company's values. I've never had any complaints from clients or colleagues. I wave dismissively. Ryan, this isn't a negotiation. We're terminating your employment, effective immediately. His face goes white. This is discrimination, Polly. You can't fire me for having different political views. I feel my anger spike. Political views. This isn't about politics, it's about basic human decency. It's about creating a workplace where everyone feels valued and safe. Slam my hand on the desk again. And if you can't understand that, then you don't belong here. After Ryan storms out, I email myself again. Ryan termination complete. Typical defensive response, immediately jumping to accusations of discrimination. Cannot see that his own attitudes create hostile environment for others. Exactly the kind of toxic masculinity we need to eliminate from workplace culture. 2 down, making real progress. Thursday morning, feeling accomplished. Walk through the office with my head high. Notice conversations stopping when I pass, probably talking about the terminations. Good, let them think about it. Change doesn't happen without some discomfort. Sarah approaches my office around noon. Polly, do you have a few minutes? I wanted to talk about team bomb morale. I gesture for her to come in, feeling more relaxed. Finally, someone who gets it. Of course, Sarah, what's on your mind? She closes the door behind her. People are pretty shaken up about Jake and Ryan. I'm getting a lot of questions about job security. I nod sympathetically. Change is always difficult, but it's necessary. We're creating space for people like you to step up and lead. I appreciate the confidence, but I'm worried about the process. Both Jake and Ryan seemed blindsided. Were there performance improvement plans, documentation of specific issues? Feel my mood shifting. Sarah, I expected more support from you on this. Stand up, voice getting sharper. We've talked about the need for cultural change in this company. Sometimes leadership requires making tough decisions. I thought you understood that we can't keep enabling the same old patterns. Sarah looks uncomfortable. I do understand. I just think we need to be careful about due process. Wave my hand dismissively. Due process is what got us into this mess in the first place. All those procedures and documentation requirements just protect people who don't deserve protection. My voice is rising again. They're designed to maintain the status quo, Sarah. They're designed to make it as hard as possible to remove problematic employees. But Polly, if we don't follow proper procedures, the company could face legal issues. I feel heat rushing to my face. Legal issues? From who? Jake and Ryan? Let them try. Any lawyer will see exactly what kind of employees they were. That evening, back at my apartment, pour myself a large glass of wine, open laptop to send one more email to myself. Day 3. Post-terminations. Some pushback from remaining staff, but this is expected. Even Sarah showing concerning attachment to bureaucratic processes. May need to educate team further on why traditional human resources frameworks are inadequate for addressing systemic issues. The discomfort everyone is feeling is exactly what transformation looks like. No one ever changed the world by making everyone comfortable. Friday afternoon, week from hell finally ending. Executive team meeting to discuss quarterly results. Walk into conference room feeling vindicated, ready to explain my strategic vision. Chief Executive Officer David looks serious. Polly, we need to discuss the recent terminations. I pull out my folder of documentation. Absolutely. I'm prepared to walk through the reasoning for each decision. Both Jake and Ryan showed patterns of behavior incompatible with our company culture. David holds up his hand. Actually, we need to discuss some concerns that have been raised. Feel my defenses going up. What kind of concerns? If this is about due process, I can explain why traditional approaches don't work for cultural issues. David exchanges glances with the other executives. Polly, we've received some information that suggests there may have been irregularities in your decision-making process. My heart starts racing. Irregularities? I followed all company policies. Every decision was based on legitimate performance and cultural fit criteria. Voice getting louder, more forceful. Are you questioning my judgment, my professional competence? Polly, please sit down. David's tone is gentle but firm. We've seen some emails that raise questions about your motivations. The room starts spinning. What emails? My performance evaluations are confidential human resources documents. David slides a tablet across the table. These emails, Polly. My stomach drops as I see my own words on the screen. The emails to myself, my private documentation, my honest thoughts about Jake and Ryan. How did you... My voice comes out as a whisper. These are private emails. You had no right to access my personal communications. David's expression is pained. Polly, These were sent from your company email account. Information technology discovered them during a routine security audit. I grabbed the tablet, scrolling through my own words. Jake, termination completed. As expected, he showed no understanding of why his behavior was problematic. Complete lack of self-awareness typical of his demographic. Feel my face burning with shame and anger. This is taken out of context. These are just notes, not official policy. Keep reading. Voice shaking. Typical defensive response. Immediately jumping to accusations of discrimination. Cannot see that his own attitudes create hostile environment for others. Exactly the kind of toxic masculinity we need to eliminate. The words look different on screen. Harsher than I remember. David clears his throat. Polly, these emails suggest that you made termination decisions based on gender, not performance. That's not just poor judgment, it's illegal discrimination. I slam the tablet down. That's not what this says. I was targeting toxic behavior patterns. Was trying to create a better workplace for everyone. Voice rising to nearly shouting. You don't understand what it's like to be the only woman in leadership. To constantly fight against systems designed to exclude people like me. Every day I have to prove myself twice as hard just to be taken seriously. Other executives are looking at each other nervously. Jake and Ryan weren't fired for being men. They were fired for perpetuating a culture that makes this place hostile for women. But of course you can't see that because you benefit from the same system. David tries to interrupt, but I keep going. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The moment a woman tries to level the playing field, suddenly she's the problem. Collapse back into my chair, feeling tears starting. Do you know how hard it is to watch qualified women get passed over year after year? To see the same type of guy get promoted while women with twice the talent get ignored? My voice cracks. I was trying to fix something that's been broken for decades. David's voice is quieter now. Polly, I understand you're frustrated. But the solution can't be to discriminate in the opposite direction. We have to follow the law and company policy for everyone. I wipe my eyes, anger flaring again. Company policy? The same policies that maintained an all-male leadership team for 8 years? The same policies that somehow never found performance issues with men who interrupted women in every meeting? Who took credit for female colleagues' ideas? Who created a culture where women had to work twice as hard for half the recognition? My voice is hoarse from shouting. Those policies don't work, David. They never worked. Long silence in the room. Finally, David speaks. Polly, regardless of your intentions, we can't ignore what these emails reveal. They show clear evidence of gender-based discrimination in employment decisions. We're going to have to conduct a full investigation. Feel everything crashing down around me. An investigation? You're going to investigate me for trying to create equality? For finally giving women a fair chance in this company? David shakes his head sadly. We're going to investigate whether you violated federal employment law, whether the company is now liable for wrongful termination lawsuits. That night, alone in my apartment, laptop open, staring at a blank email, hands shaking as I try to type, everything I worked for, destroyed. 3 years of trying to make real change, gone. Think about Jake and Ryan, their confused, hurt faces, the way they looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I was wrong about them. Maybe they weren't the enemy I thought they were. Start typing slowly. I need to acknowledge that I made serious errors in judgment. My personal feelings about gender inequality in tech led me to make decisions that were unfair to individual employees. Jake and Ryan deserved better than what they received from me. Delete that. Try again. I let my passion for creating a more inclusive workplace cloud my professional judgment. While my intentions were to address real systemic issues, my methods were wrong and harmful. Delete again. How do you apologize for destroying people's lives? How do you explain that you thought you were fighting for justice? Finally managed to write, "I am deeply sorry for the pain I caused Jake and Ryan. They did not deserve to lose their jobs because of my personal biases. I convinced myself I was fighting discrimination while practicing it myself. I was wrong, and I take full responsibility for my actions." Monday morning, called into David's office. Local news van parked outside the building. Story has leaked somehow. Tech company human resources director fired employees based on gender emails reveal. Walk through office with everyone staring. Whispers following me down the hallway. David's office door is closed. Knock quietly. Voice barely audible. "Come in." He's not alone. Company lawyer is there too. "Polly, please sit down. We need to discuss your resignation." Resignation. The word hits like a physical blow. I see. No fight left in me anymore, just exhaustion and shame. "What do you need from me?" Lawyer slides papers across the desk. "We're prepared to offer a severance package in exchange for your resignation. The company will also issue a public statement acknowledging the mistakes in hiring practices." My throat is tight. What about Jake and Ryan? They're both pursuing wrongful termination lawsuits. The company will likely settle out of court. Their lawyers have been very vocal about the discrimination they experienced. I nod, unable to speak. Sign the papers with hands still shaking. That afternoon, company-wide email goes out. "Dear team, we recently discovered that certain employment decisions were made using criteria inconsistent with our company values and legal obligations. We take full responsibility for this failure of oversight and are taking immediate corrective action. We deeply regret any harm caused to affected employees and are committed to ensuring all personnel decisions are made fairly and lawfully going forward." My name isn't mentioned, but everyone knows. Evening News picks up the story. Reporter standing outside company building. Sources confirm that multiple male employees were terminated based primarily on their gender, according to leaked internal emails. The human resources director responsible has resigned, and the company faces multiple discrimination lawsuits. Turn off the television, sit in darkness, phone buzzing with texts from former colleagues, some supportive, most just asking what really happened. Don't respond to any of them. 3 weeks later, Jake's lawyer contacts me directly, wants deposition for the lawsuit, have to sit in conference room, under oath, recounting every decision, every email, every bias. "Did you terminate Mr. Jake's employment because he was male?" Long pause. "I terminated his employment because I believed his attitudes were harmful to female colleagues. But yes, his gender influenced how I interpreted his behavior." "And you acknowledge this was discriminatory?" Voice barely a whisper. "Yes, I acknowledge that this was discriminatory." Jake is there, listening to every word. Won't make eye contact with me. Can't blame him. Lawyer continues. "In your email dated March 15th, you wrote that Jake's response was typical of his demographic. What did you mean by that?" Feel tears starting again. I meant typical of men. I was making assumptions based on his gender. I was wrong to do that. After deposition, Jake approaches me in hallway. "Polly, can we talk for a minute?" I stop, expecting anger, deserving anger. I just want to understand why. I thought we worked well together. I never meant to make anyone uncomfortable. Break down. Completely. "Jake, I'm so sorry. I convinced myself you were something you weren't. I projected all my frustrations about inequality onto you personally. You didn't deserve what I did to you." He nods slowly. "I get that you were trying to help women succeed. But you hurt real people in the process, including women who now have to work in a place where everyone's walking on eggshells." His words hit harder than any legal consequence. "I know. I destroyed everything I was trying to build. 6 months later, unemployment running out. No one in tech will hire me. Background checks always reveal the discrimination case. Applying for retail jobs, anything that will pay bills, every interview ends the same way. We'll be in touch. Sitting in car after another rejection. Call my sister, first time in months. How are you holding up? Start crying immediately. I ruined everything, Amy. I thought I was fighting for justice, and I became the thing I hated most. I know you meant, well, Polly, but meaning well isn't enough. You have to actually help people, not just hurt the people you think deserve it. Her words are gentle, but clear. Maybe this is a chance to figure out a better way to create change. Hanging up, think about Jake's question. Why did I do it? Because I was angry. Because I was tired of fighting. Because it felt good to finally have power. Because I lost sight of what justice actually looks like. Draft one more email. To Jake and Ryan, directly this time. I know my apologies can't undo the damage I caused to your careers and reputations. I know I destroyed your trust in workplace fairness. I spent so long fighting discrimination that I became a discriminator myself. You deserved better from me and from the company. I hope you can eventually find peace with what happened, even if you can't forgive me. I will spend the rest of my career trying to do better. Send it before I can change my mind, not expecting responses, just needing them to know that I finally understand what I really did